What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web war fanatic, and today I want to talk about the most confusing ruling in Marvel Champions, at least in my opinion. And I don't mean confusing as in like this is controversial or like it doesn't make sense. This is more confusing in terms of like there's like different times where I've learned this rule and I constantly forget it because there's different cards that work similar but not in the exact same way. Let's go ahead and just jump into it here. So this is Dance of Death. It's a 3-cost attack event, and here actually make the following 3 attacks in order. Do 1 damage to enemy, do 2 damage to enemy, do 3 damage to enemy. And we also have Slice and Dice, which works very similar to it. Another 3-cost attack event. Hero action, make the following 2 attacks in order. Do 3 damage to enemy, and then do 3 damage to enemy. So before I continue this video, I have 4 questions right here for you guys. So the first question is, if I'm playing Wolverine, and Wolverine is stunned, and I play a Slice and Dice, does a stun only block the first attack and I can still use a second attack? Or does a stun cancel the entire card here and I'm not able to do either attack? So I just pay 3 costs to play the Slice and Dice and that just removes a stun, right? Which one is the correct answer? And then my second question here is, how does this attack event like Slice and Dice interact with Retaliate? So, you have 2 separate instances of damage here. So do you take a Retaliate for both instances of damage if the enemy that you're attacking is not defeated? Because obviously if the enemy is defeated, they will not retaliate. So yeah, does Slice and Dice here, will you take Retaliate, 2 times for each instance of damage? Or do you only take Retaliate 1 time because it's just 1 card right here? And then the third question that I have is, if I use the aggressive energy right here to pay for a Slice and Dice. So here interrupt, when you spend this card to play an attack event like Slice and Dice, the event deals 1 additional damage. So I use this to pay for Slice and Dice. Does this do 4 damage and then 3 damage, or does it do 4 damage and 4 damage? The fourth and final question that I have for you guys is, if I use the Warrior skill, this 2-cost upgrade here, so it's interrupt here for this upgrade that's already on the table. When your hero attacks, including playing an attack event like Slice and Dice, remove 1 warrior counter from here. That attack deals 1 additional damage. So if I use this ability here with the Slice and Dice, does it make both instances do, that +1 damage, or only the first instance? So those are my 4 questions to you guys. Let me know before you guys, go on this video. I want to just do a fun test. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Slice and Dice here and your answers to all 4 questions. And I have a separate 4 questions here for a different type of attack event. So this is going to be melee right here. 3-cost event. Hero action attack. Do 3 damage to enemy. Do 3 damage to another enemy. And a similar card to this is going to be the Ricochet Beam. So 2-cost attack event. Hero action attack, do 3 damage to enemy, and do 3 damage to enemy with an upgrade attached. So very similar to a melee right here. And then very similar card again, Royal Flush. Place 1 charge counter on game. It's an attack event. Do 0 damage to enemy, 0 damage, and 0 damage. And then finally, we have Firepower here. Also a similar event. It's a 1-cost attack event. Exhaust up to 3 weapon upgrades you control. For each upgrade exhausted away, choose enemy, do 3 damage. And then if you exhaust 3 weapon upgrades, you choose another enemy, do 3 damage. Choose another enemy, do 3 damage. And in this one, you can choose the exact same enemy for all 3 times if you do the full 3 weapon upgrades. So for those 4 questions of, the stun stats card, the retaliate, if you use the aggressive energy, and if you use warrior skill, what is the answer for like, a Slice and Dice type of attack event versus a Ricochet Beam type of attack event? So yeah, let me know down in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? And I'll go over the actual rulings here that I had to look up for this video because I forget it every single time, guys. Before we go into the actual official rulings for each one of these interactions, I do want to specify that all the rulings that apply to Slice and Dice also apply the exact same way for Dance of Death, because Dance of Death and Slice and Dice are the exact same type of attack events. And all the official rulings that apply for the Ricochet Beam also apply the exact same way for melee and for Royal Flush and for Firepower, because these 4 type of attack events are also, in the same boat. But a Ricochet Beam is separate from how Slice and Dice works, right? It's like these type of events that, make the following 2 attacks in order, separating this and saying this is 2 separate attacks. Same for Dance of Death, make the following 3 attacks in order, saying that this is more than 1 attack, for this 1 attack event. While the Ricochet Beam, melee, Royal Flush, and Firepower is all considered one attack. Even though it's separate instances here, it's still just one attack event. So the Ricochet Beam here is going to be considered one attack with these two separate instances. So for the remainder of this video, we will be grouping the Slice and Dice and Dance of Death, in one group, and we'll be grouping the Ricochet Beam, Melee, Royal Flush, and Firepower all in a separate group. Okay, so let's go over the most confusing ruling in Marvel Champions here. Okay, so for Slice and Dice here, if Wolverine is stunned and he plays a Slice and Dice, well, this is two separate attacks, right? It's not like a single attack. So if I play a Slice and Dice, the stun will replace the effect of the first Slice and Dice, because the stun is the next time that you would make an attack, you discard a stun instead, and you can actually use the second do 3 damage to enemy, right? So playing a Slice and Dice while you're stunned is actually pretty good, because you remove the stun and you can still do the second do 3 damage to enemy, which is pretty cool. And that works the exact same way for Dance of Death here. Now, if you are trying to play a Ricochet Beam and you're stunned, then the stun will take the entire effect of this card, because this hero action attack, do 3 damage to an enemy, do 3 damage to enemy with upgrade attached, counts as one single attack through this one attack event. It's not like the Slice and Dice where it's two separate attacks. So if you're stunned and you play the Ricochet Beam, you discard your stun and you don't get any damage off from the Ricochet Beam. So yeah, let me know, do you guys get that one right? And then for the next example is going to be for Retaliate here. So let's jump back to the Slice and Dice. So if you're attacking an enemy is not defeated, and you play Slice and Dice here, you do 3 damage to the enemy will retaliate right after that first attack instance, and then when you do the other 3 damage, you'll also get Retaliate again. So you get Retaliate twice if Slice and Dice does not defeat an enemy and it's all on the same enemy. Same for the Dance of Death here, right? You're going to get Retaliate 3 times for each instance of damage here if the enemy is not defeated. So just a bunch of Retaliate here from this Dance of Death. Now, if we're talking about the Ricochet Beam and the Melee and the Royal Flush and the Firepower, well, Firepower doesn't matter with Retaliate because attack gains range. But for this type of attack event where it's like a single event that's a single attack, but like you can do like multiple sources of damage with it. If you are facing an enemy that has Retaliate, like let's say you're facing a villain, right? Do 3 damage to enemy, do 3 damage to enemy with upgrade attached. You only get Retaliated one time for this one attack event. Now, there's a super weird ruling with this where let's say you hit 2 separate enemies and you don't defeat either of them, right? So let's say you have 2 minions and they both have 5 hit points and they both have Retaliate. So if you do 3 damage to an enemy to one of the minions, they'll retaliate and hit you back. Then if you do 3 damage to an enemy with upgrade attached, let's say the other minion has upgrade attached, that other minion will also retaliate on you and do damage to you, right? So like, it's the same exact thing from the Ricochet Beam to the Melee here, right? So you hit 2 separate enemies for 3, they'll both retaliate on you if they both have Retaliate and are not defeated. But, Melee cannot hit the exact same enemy, but Ricochet Beam can. If you Ricochet Beam the exact same enemy, you only get retaliated once because it's considered, one single attack. So yeah, that's another weird one there. Let me know, guys, if you guys got that one right. That might be an interesting one there. I think that's probably the most confusing one, where Retaliate works, if you have two separate enemies, they both retaliate, but you have one enemy, this is considered just one attack there, and that enemy will only retaliate once. That one confuses me to no end. I know I always grim rule it whenever I play the Ricochet Beam with Retaliates, and I just take the Retaliate damage, whether I'm supposed to or not, just because I don't know if I'm supposed to, and I keep on forgetting. Okay, the next ruling here is going to be with the aggressive energy here. So if you're using this as a resource card to play an attack event, the event deals 1 additional damage. So if you use this for Slice and Dice, it says that the whole entire attack event will deal 1 additional damage. So Slice and Dice will do 4 damage to enemy, and it was going to deal another 4 damage to enemy. You could pick 2 different enemies or a same one. It's 2 separate instances of 4. So that's going to go on twice there. If you use the aggressive energy here to pay for an attack event like the Ricochet Beam, it's going to work the exact same way as the Slice and Dice for this instance, because this is, your attack event of the Ricochet Beam. So each instance here will do additional damage. It's going to do 4 damage to enemy and do 4 damage to enemy with the upgrade attached. Same for the Melee, the Royal Flush, and the Firepower. So if you're using aggressive energy to pay for any attack event, it's going to be able to add additional damage for every single instance, no matter if it's the Dance of Death type of attack event or if it's the Ricochet Beam type of attack event. So this aggressive energy will work the same both ways. You'll get the positive effects of this. However, the warrior skill here is going to work a little bit differently. So the wording here is a little bit different. For the aggressive energy, it says when you spend this card to play an attack event. So that's why something like a slice and dice, this whole entire thing is attack event. So the aggressive energy will increase the amount of damage the event deals by 1 damage, right? So it's going to go for both instances here. However, for the warrior skill, it doesn't say for attack event. It says interrupt. When your hero attacks, remove 1 warrior counter from here. That attack deals 1 additional damage. So if you're using the warrior skill here to play a slice and dice, well, slice and dice is 2 separate attacks. So if you remove a counter from warrior skill, it's going to make the first instance here do 4 damage, and the second instance of a damage is only going to do 3 damage. So if you use a warrior skill here with slice and dice, it's going to do a total of 7 damage, 4 and 3. However, if you use the warrior skill here to combo with the Ricochet Beam, it will increase both instances here's damage, by 1. So Ricochet Beam will do 4 damage to enemy and then do 4 damage to enemy with the upgrade attach, because Ricochet Beam and melee and Royal Flush and all of that is considered, one single attack. So the warrior skill will, when your hero attacks, including that attack event, it can do that 1 additional damage, and it will apply for both instances there. So yeah, I mean, this thing confuses me to no end. I had to do the research before I made this video, but even after this video, I will probably forget again in my future playthroughs. So yeah, hopefully I'll remember now making this video. Let me know down in the comments, guys, which ones did you get right? Which ones did you get wrong? Do you guys know all the rulings here before even watching this video? That is crazy because I definitely forget. So yeah, kudos to everyone that got that one right. But to me, this is the most confusing ruling in Marvel Champions. Do you agree that this is the most confusing ruling? If not, what do you think is a more confusing ruling? And yeah, that's it for this video. Just a short one here. I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Okay, so I just stopped recording a video, but I thought that I should mention one more quick thing for anyone else that's confused, because this situation may come up a lot. So for Slice and Dice, this is an attack event for Wolverine, and Wolverine does have his claws here. It's a permanent upgrade for this hero. Hero action, you can exhaust the claws, choose an attack event in your hand, take damage equal to its permanent cost. Then you can play the event, ignoring its resource cost, and that attack gains piercing. So the way that this card interacts for Wolverine is that if you use the Wolverine's claws to play a slice and dice, only this first attack right here will have piercing. The second attack will not have piercing. So if you have like 2 different minions in front of you that both have a tough status card, and you play slice and dice with Wolverine's claws, you will pierce off the tough of the first minion, but the second minion you cannot pierce off that tough with that second hit from the slice and dice. If you are using Wolverine's claws to play something like a melee, and the exact same example where you have 2 separate minions in front of you, both instances of the melee will have piercing because melee is considered 1 attack. And Wolverine's claws here will give that attack piercing. So that single attack of melee here will have piercing, so you can pierce off the tough from 1 minion and then pierce off the tough from another minion if you're using the claws to play this attack event. The other rulings that I mentioned here will apply to a lot more heroes, and in Wolverine's claws, obviously that will only apply to Wolverine. So I kind of left it out, but you know what? I thought that I should just go ahead and mention this as well, in case you guys are playing Wolverine and are confused about how his claws work. The claws basically work the exact same way as the warrior skill card right here, where it's when your hero attacks, remove a counter, and then that attack deals 1 additional damage. This applies to, only the first instance here of slice and dice. Same for the Wolverine's claws. That attack gaining piercing only applies to that first attack right here because it's 2 separate attacks. And then for something like a melee, it's just 1 single attack. So both the claws and the warrior skill will apply to both hits of something like a melee. Alright, I just wanted to add that on there, but this time we are really done with this video. If you are still confused by this ruling, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I respond to every single comment. I hope that this video was informative, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.